Imagine waking up in a world where silence dominates the morning air, not peace, but fear. A world where the sound of church bells ringing doesn't signal celebration, but another death. A world where kings fought for scraps of land while ordinary people prayed simply to survive another day. This is the real story of Dark Ages Europe, a time far more terrifying, chaotic, and fascinating than history books ever dared to reveal. And once you step into this forgotten age, you will never look at modern civilization the same way again. Most of us imagine the Dark Ages as a time when the world fell apart overnight, when barbarians stormed mighty cities, when plagues wiped out entire villages, and when life became a daily struggle against hunger, disease, and war. But the truth is even darker. The fall of Rome didn't just collapse a single empire, it shattered the entire structure of European life, breaking centuries of law, education, engineering, and culture into fragments scattered across hostile forests, ruined towns, and warlord-controlled territory. Picture this. Once great Roman roads cracked and overgrown, bathhouses abandoned, libraries looted, the reassuring presence of an empire replaced by the unpredictable rule of tribal chieftains. People who once lived under organized government now had to depend on local lords whose power came not from law or justice but from the sword. This was the new reality. Survival belonged to the strongest, or the luckiest. Yet in the middle of this collapsing world, life had to continue. Families still needed bread, children still needed protection. Communities tried to rebuild themselves, often isolated from the rest of the world. The average person rarely traveled more than 5 miles from home during their entire lifetime. And because so few people traveled or wrote, rumors replaced facts, legends replaced history, and fear replaced knowledge. Europe became a continent of whispers. In those early centuries, danger came in every form imaginable. If famine didn't kill you, raiders might. If raiders didn't kill you, disease would. And even if you survived all of that, your lord's war for power could claim you next. Society became an unending loop of uncertainty. Life expectancy in many regions fell to as low as 30 years. A bad winter could mean starvation. A failed harvest meant certain death. And then came a plague. Long before the infamous Black Death of the 14th century, earlier waves of disease had already wreaked havoc. Entire villages vanished in a matter of days. People didn't understand germs or infection. They believed plagues were punishments from God or death curses cast by unseen forces. Without knowledge, fear spread faster than disease. People fled from their homes, carrying sickness with them. Priests offered prayers, but even they died in massive numbers. When the Black Death finally arrived centuries later, it hit the Europe already weakened by centuries of war and instability. Imagine a world where doctors wore bat-like masks filled with herbs, believing the sweet smell could block death. Imagine streets filled with abandoned carts, homes sealed with red crosses, and mass graves dug at dawn. Over 25 million people vanished in just 5 years, 1/3 of Europe's entire population. This wasn't just a tragedy, it reshaped every aspect of European civilization. But plagues weren't the only terror. As central authority collapsed after Rome, Europe became a battlefield of ambitious kings, rebel nobles, and foreign invaders. The Vikings stormed the coastlines, burning monasteries, capturing slaves, and terrifying populations who had never seen warriors so fierce. To the people of the Dark Ages, Viking raids felt like divine punishment, lightning-fast attacks, unstoppable fury, and ships that appeared like demons rising from the sea. To the east, the Byzantine Empire struggled to hold on, constantly defending itself from Persians, Arabs, and internal betrayal. To the west, small kingdoms rose and fell like waves in a storm. Frankish kings, Anglo-Saxon tribes, Slavic clans, and emerging powers all fought for dominance. Number 1 trusted peace. Peace was only the time you sharpen your sword. But despite the chaos, something extraordinary happened. Life continued to adapt. Villagers developed new farming techniques to survive harsher climates. Monks became guardians of knowledge, copying every manuscript they could save from destruction. Women played crucial roles in maintaining households, farms, and communities, even though history rarely mentions them. People began forming local alliances, small legal systems, and basic economies based on barter and loyalty. Slowly, painfully, Europe began to rebuild itself from the inside out. Still, fear shaped every aspect of life. Superstition ruled where science had disappeared. People believed illness came from evil spirits, that storms were anger from heaven, and that comets signaled disaster. Without education, anything unexplained became supernatural. Dark forests became symbols of danger. Wolves, once ordinary animals, became monsters in the minds of villagers. Night itself felt alive with threats. Power during the Dark Ages was like fire. Whoever held it controlled life and death. Kings demanded loyalty, nobles demanded taxes, and the church demanded obedience. Religion became the one force capable of uniting people across different lands. Monasteries became safe havens. Priests became the only educated class. Churches offered hope but also control. If a king ruled with the sword, the church ruled with the mind. This partnership between crown and cross reshaped Europe. Kings were crowned by bishops. Wars were justified by faith. Ordinary people believed rebellion against their lot was rebellion against God. And yet, in the middle of this, corruption grew. Some priests became wealthy. Some lords exploited their people. Some kings used religion for personal gain. Power always creates shadows, and in the Dark Ages, those shadows were everywhere. But not everything was grim. This era also saw the birth of legends, heroes, and stories that still shape our culture today. King Arthur, Beowulf, Viking sagas, and countless folk tales were born in this mysterious age where reality and myth blended. These stories gave people hope, courage, and identity. They reminded them that even in darkness, heroes could rise. As centuries passed, Europe slowly evolved. Small kingdoms united into larger ones. Trade routes reopened. Castles replaced wooden forts. Towns grew around rivers and marketplaces. People began learning again, questioning again, imagining again. The seeds of the Renaissance were being planted but no one could see it yet. All they knew was survival. The Dark Ages weren't just a period of suffering. They were the foundation of modern Europe. From chaos came structure. From fear came innovation. From isolation came culture. From war came alliances. And from death came rebirth. The real mistake is thinking the Dark Ages were simply death. In truth, they were a turning point, a painful, bloody, terrifying transformation that forced humanity to rebuild itself from ashes. Every castle, every country, every law, every tradition we see in Europe today was shaped by the storms of this era. And here is the hidden truth most people never realize. The Dark Ages didn't end because people suddenly became smarter or more peaceful. They ended because humanity refused to stay broken. Even in the worst conditions, people adapted, learned, rebuilt, and pushed forward. The human spirit outlived the darkness. If this journey through the forgotten world of Dark Ages Europe opened your eyes, if it made history feel alive and urgent, then you're exactly the kind of curious mind that belongs on this channel. Because the mysteries of history are endless, and the past is far more dramatic than any movie or TV show. So before you leave, hit that subscribe button. Join this growing family of explorers who want to uncover the stories the textbooks skip. Together, we'll continue diving into the hidden corners of history, places filled with courage, tragedy, power, and truth. This is just the beginning. Stay curious, stay fearless, and I'll see you in the next journey into the past.